Welcome back to City Trends. I'm your host, George Miller. We have our next guest. We have Judy Risley and Shawn from Toastmasters. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Toastmasters, excuse me, it's a great place to get a foundation in public speaking. Actually, when I came back from Korea, because I was speaking for the military, I was given briefings. First thing I did when I came back to the States is I joined Toastmasters to help refine that skill set, and they allowed me to do that. Let me introduce my guest to you, Judy Risley. Thank you for coming on, and Shawn Toner. Can you share a little bit about your organization and what you're doing here in the Central Valley?
Thank you, George. First, I'd like to just familiarize those who are not familiar with Toastmasters of how it started, and then go into the event that we're talking about today. But Toastmasters was started by Ralph Smedley in 1924, October, because he wanted to teach the young men in the YMCA a better way to speak and lead. And so he received such a great response from his first meeting that he created these manuals, which today have been kept contemporary with technology and culture. And the proof of that is one of our leading pianists in Vienna went to Toastmasters, their English-speaking club in Vienna, and enrolled so he could practice for his TED Talks.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And so he not only learned how to speak and became a successful TED Talk speaker, but he also became an officer of the club. He got advanced ranking, which the highest is Distinguished Toastmaster, and he also became president of that Vienna club. And that's because Toastmasters International has kept the manuals updated to today's technology and improvements in speaking and leadership.
Yes, I actually still have my first manuals, and I'll keep those forever. And I shared with you earlier, one of the things that never left me, and I teach at a community college, and even professors that have been doing graduations for years, they miss the simple things in public speaking. And one of the rules of thumb is never to abandon the podium without being properly relieved. And I can't tell you how many times in a graduation I'll see someone with a PhD give a presentation and then just walk away. I'm like, you have never been to Toastmasters.
Exactly. And we also have a rule, I think it's Toastmaster-wide, that you must, from the moment the person approaching the podium is introduced, you start clapping.
That's right.
And you continue clapping until the Toastmaster has seated himself and the person has taken the podium. And it really does create a formal atmosphere, which is really what we're there to learn, is how to go ahead and speak and without a lot of crutch words, without a lot of uhs and ums and you know, like and things like that.
Like, you know.
Like, and
from the West Coast.
Yeah, so it's really a good process. And so many people come to us because they're getting ready, they've just graduated from college and they're getting ready to interview, and they know how important the interview process is in colleges now and universities, and they know that that may be the edge that they need to take a job that they might not otherwise get. So it really is a good organization. But what we're fortunate enough to have here in Fresno for the first time since 2011 is the district conference. And hopefully we will do it so well that it'll come back to Fresno often. But one of the things that we will be highlighting is our international speaker. She is only the 5th female international speaker of Toastmasters, and Pat Johnson, and she's an incredible speaker.
When is she coming?
She's coming November 4th and 5th. Her keynote speech will be the morning of the 5th. And so this conference is broken into several segments. And if you're not interested in attending the whole conference, you can choose just the keynote speech or some other segment that you're interested in.
Don't forget happy hour.
Friday night. Friday night happy hour is going to be a happy hour, I'm here to tell you, because we have Ed Tate, the 2001 champion public speaker in the United States.
Wow.
And not only that, but Ed is a great leader. I happened to be in Denver when Ed led the merging of 200-year-old competitors in the newspaper business, Rocky Mountain News and Denver Post. Mm-hmm. And they were really vigorous opponents, and that merger did not come about easily. It was a fight.
So he's the one that sculpted that merger?
He did. He led it. And
wow.
So he really, but his speech Friday night, happy hour, is going to focus on his mistakes as a leader and a person. And so
that's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. It's supposed to be an interactive and entertaining speech. And so we're really looking forward to Ed's speech, too, along with Pat's.
I love successful people that are also self-deprecating and share that it wasn't just a smooth, upward trajectory to success. And so when you get to see the behind the scenes and know the amount of work and effort that it takes to get to that level.
Yes. It does. It does. And that's the one thing that we point out in Toastmasters is we're all here learning and growing together. And we all make really egregious mistakes over and over. And sometimes I go, do I really have to learn the same lesson 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times? And the answer is yes, we do. Yes. And so it's really learning how. But I think the thing that surprised me about Toastmasters is that I didn't necessarily see myself as a leader. Mm-hmm. And then because of the leadership roles, the manuals that we take and process through, it refines your leadership capabilities and brings them out naturally. And all of a sudden, I'm standing up there, president of the club, and I'm going, pinching myself and going, what am I doing here, president of a club?
Tell me about your book. She's been inspired. She's holding back on you.
Oh, well, yes, I have just published a book.
That's all bad.
Return to Joy, 1,000 Tiny Steps, because it did take 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 tiny steps for me to return to the state of joy. Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite speakers, says that when we're born, when we're created, we come out geniuses, and then our society takes us and dumbs us down. And it takes us almost a lifetime to get rid of that programming.
To recover.
And to recover our
I'm in recovery.
Our creativity, Yeah. And so it's amazing. And so we go around, and I kept opening my mouth, and the words of somebody else would come out, and I'd go home, and I'd go, where'd that come from? Why did I say that, And so it took me until I was about 65 to just get rid of all that programming and just go ahead and let Judy come out and be me. And so that has really been, and Toastmasters has been a big part of that.
Toastmasters, I'm a big advocate of it. I use some of those tools for my students in my communication class. The biggest thing is you're going to be nervous. Sometimes you do this for 30 years, you'll still get nervous in front of some audiences.
That's true.
But don't ever let your nerves stop you from performing.
Exactly. In fact, use your nerves to push yourself forward, because if there's an edge to it, you're growing, and that's when you know you're growing. But Shawn really needs to talk a little bit about sponsorship of our conference here in Fresno.
Okay. Can you add a little bit to that?
Sure. I'm Shawn Toner. We're trying to get sponsors. What we will do is put your name on a bag, the first 200 bags. It's free advertising for the Fresno area, and it's International Toastmasters. Remember, Toastmasters is made up of a different kind of audience. We have teachers, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have council members, we have people all over Visalia, Fresno, Chowchilla, district leaders. And so you would be advertised as far as international, because people are going back with those bags. And so your number, your name, I would put all the information you would want everybody to know about you. And it's really at a very low cost. You're talking, $10 sponsorship, $20 sponsorship, and get those bags out there.
And you're donating to something that's really important.
Yes.
It really is. And that skill set, they say in corporations, you have to have the degrees or whatever skill set it requires to get that interview and get the job. But after that, the trajectory is based on your communication skills.
And those bags can go far and wide, because if we're going to pass those out to the first 200 people, and the conference information, we'll get that at the end of the show. But it's very important. This is big time in Fresno for us to have international Toastmasters coming. So people from the airport, I get to pick up, I'm an ambassador, so I get to pick up Pat Johnson. So it's my privilege to welcome her to our town. I'm excited.
Exciting stuff. Okay, if they want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Sarah Palmer is our conference organizer, or they can go to Toastmasters International for Fresno, California. I have the information on a board that I'm going to present here in a minute. That would be the fastest way.
Okay, let me have the cameras cut to this, and I'm going to hold this up. Let me know when you got that. You need me to move it?
No, it's good.
Good, okay.
Thank you. There you go, George. I think we got a lot of information out there.
All right, folks, if you'd like to be a part of this, please get a hold of them. If you'd like to just work on your public speaking, because as they say, for a lot of people, public speaking is the #1 fear. And actually, for a lot of people, death is number 3. So Jerry Seinfeld used to have a joke that most people would rather be in the coffin than give the eulogy.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, folks. We got to cut to a commercial, and we'll be right back.
Thank
Great
you.
job,
Great.
George.
Good.